Hello everybody, welcome to another charting session here on the channel. Today is April 3rd, and I only took one trade today, and it was a loss. I did identify the reason why, and we'll go over that. So, first thing I want to do in this charting / educational session is that I want to go over Monday's action. The reason why is because it shows a model that I have been studying, and it's like a picture perfect of the model. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways to trade the model, but it's a very ideal structure of the model. So real quick, I'm just getting myself to the correct day. All right over here on this 1 minute. Where is this at? Here, okay. All right. So right here on Monday, the bias in the morning, we would have been seeing this massive downtrend. Okay, 1 second. I have to let my cat into my room. So, going into the morning Monday, I did not trade because I was on vacation, but as I was backtesting price, I did see this. So, in the morning, we have a massive downtrend. We are selling off all through the night, and into the morning, we are all the way down here. So, also looking at this, we do also have this gap up, which is basically a liquidity void, and it can act as a sort of supportive resistance, just like any PD array, right? Or draw on liquidity. So as you can see, we came down to here, and this is where we stopped, and now to reject to go higher. So in the morning here, we got a little retrace like always, so we keep getting these moves. We get slight retrace, strong sell-off, slight retrace, strong sell-off, slight retrace, strong sell-off, slight retrace, and right here at market open we get a massive pump, and we are taking out all of this engineered sells or engineered buy side liquidity. Now that is not the model right there. What you'd be looking for is right up here. So notice right up here, there's only a few things that is not real good about this model, which I'm going to explain in 1 second. But you'll notice that after we've taken this high, we start to consolidate. And that is showing that we're most likely going to be done with the move. Now, the only thing I really wish I would have seen is that we would have taken these previous day highs. Because as you can see here, from this day high, and all the way up this day high, these are daily highs that wanted to get taken out, and we sort of just left them, right? It would have been really nice to take them so that we would have not had to face them some other time in the future, because we are wanting to take out all of the buy side liquidity so that we can head lower. But right here is your sort of model. You have external liquidity being taken out, which is this, and then we get this consolidative move. So with Turtle Soup, what you're most likely going to see is a SMT across the tops, and right after that you're going to get a massive sell-off. So looking at here, at the time you would want to look at the tops. So as you can see, and something to also note is that as NQ had this massive push, ES didn't really do that. ES was in a downtrend just like NQ, but when NQ pumped up to take all of this, ES did like nothing. It only took out these highs, right? So not much of a difference, or there's a lot of difference here, but NQ is clearly the stronger one, but also that doesn't really matter because this model works still. Anyways, looking at this, you want to identify where an SMT could be at the top. So after you took out external, you want to see, is there any SMTs that can show a sign of reversal? So you look at these two tops, and it's not an SMT because it made a lower high and then a higher high, and same thing here, lower high, higher high. Then you could look at right here, but again, there's no SMT. It's still the same. It's the higher low and then a lower low, and then right here it's also a higher high and then a higher low. But then right here is the first sign of an SMT. We get a lower high and then a higher high on NQ, and then on ES we get a higher low and then a lower low, or sorry, higher high and then a lower high. Anyways, this happens, right? SMT is created. What happens right after? Boom, massive sell-off. So right here is indicating that price could reverse. So there's different ways people could take entries. Usually the term is, inside of a model, you're going to have certain numbers of entries. One could be your first entry. You could then have a second entry, and then there could be a recumulation entry. And there's also things like chase entry, which you don't want to do a chase entry. But anyways, right here in this model, we have Turtle Soup. We have a manipulation of this high, while on ES we did not create a manipulation of the high. And we get a massive sell-off. So usually what this, after you get this, you're going to want to find a breaker, some sort of fair value gap. I like to sort of combine this with unicorn if it kind of looks like this. So as you can see, we do have this fair value gap created, but I don't want to just enter when we tap into the fair value gap. I want to kind of have it tab off of the bottom of one of these closed candles, usually the lowest one, to get better risk. So as you can see right here, could be your entry, and there's certain ways people will enter this. So number one, if somebody sees that this down closed candle happens, or this candle happens, or this candle happens, more prominently this candle, because it closed below this low. But if we get a strong displacement down, people will usually, some people may decide to take a sell right here because the move is going to head lower. Or they could wait for a retrace into where it's going to retrace to, because price has to rebalance. This is where you're going to add a lot of entries. You can also see here that we accumulate to grab as many entries as possible. And in addition to this, I do want to see, yeah, there is an SMT. It's a little bit non-noticeable, but as you can see right here, we do get this confirmation SMT to head lower. So after that SMT is formed, massive dump again. And then you have the second entry. So right here, here's another unicorn entry aligned with this fair value gap. You could have your second entry right here. So here's your confirmation entry. This is showing you, after we respect this, displace back down, close below this low, this shows you that we are going to reverse and that we are respecting this model. Thus, the second entry, which is right here, is a lot more higher probability, and also usually will not have an accumulation like this. It's usually just going to be a tap and then straight run down. So right here, we tapped at this breaker, and we headed down lower. Now, if you're in this first entry right here, and let's say you're in your full position, your first take profit would be at this low, and then we head lower. Then you may see a retrace you might want to add in, right? Or you may just want to hold it. Next, we got the second low. As you can see, we swept the second low, displaced a little off of it, came back down, and you get your next entry off of this fair value gap. This is, I believe, this is a 15-minute fair value gap. So this 15-minute fair value gap that's created is going to be really high probable. This taps into it. This is your second entry. We then head lower. Here's some more TPs to take off. And here's this daily low, which could be your last TP. And then looking at this, you want to also see, is there any sort of form of manipulation? This would be your manipulation candle right here. So what you could do is you would go from the top of the manipulation. Some people would do this candle right here. It's kind of just up to you. I'm going to do the top of this manipulation, going down to the bottom, and mark this as SD. So this would actually go the other way. So we mark SD. Let's see how SD lines up here. Okay, so we go to this 2.5, which aligns closely to these, and then we also went all the way down to -4. So this kind of just gives you a little projection of how far down we could go. This probably could be made with just the bodies of these candles. So I want to see if I make it just the bodies of these candles. Yeah, this may be a little more accurate. Possibly, I'm not sure. We go down to this 2.5, rebalance back up, go into premium of this range, and then we head back lower to this -4 area. So it's a possibility. But then I want to kind of explain what happens after this. So as you can see, this is a 15-minute for value gap. We create some structure. So what happens here? We actually create another move. So now you can see we took this and then we started sort of consolidating. We move up, and after we take this daily low, and after the move's over, which we wouldn't know the move is over unless we had a good standard deviation put out, but you can see right here we have this fake out move. Basically, if you look at all these, we have these candles go up, but then we have weaker candles, even weaker candles, no higher candles. It's just consolidation, and then we get this strong move up. So this was a fake out move. We head back lower, we manipulate this low, and then we finally manipulate this low, right? And you could actually draw this in right here. This is a great manipulation leg to draw in from here to here, and you can get a good projection of where price could go. So with this, let's say you see this massive pump up, take out these highs, and we reach to 2.5 or 2 to 2.5 area, and we're respecting it. As you can see, we end off at this area, sell back lower. You want us to go into OTE of this range for long entries to target -4. So -4, or in this case, you'd probably target this 15-minute for value gap because this is a sort of resistance, right? So we do enter into here, and we then went higher. We got a rejection off of this OTE range, get this 1 minute fair value gap created, respected a couple times, and then we head higher very, very, very slowly until we reach up to this 15-minute again. And this 15-minute also did end up entering into this range of the 3.5 to -4. So this is your target for standard deviation, right? So we did reach that target, and we sell back off, and we just sort of do this the rest of the day. Never really decided to look at the action much, but looking at a higher time frame here, after this happens, right here. So on this 15-minute, you could see that we sort of created this kind of structure where we tapped into this 15-minute twice. And I do want to see real quick, did this create an SMT? Where was this at? Right here. No, this didn't, but it was close. So no SMT here. This would look a little better if we did manipulate this high, but that's completely fine too. So we sold off, and this is kind of where we are today. Had a massive sell-off, and yeah. So going into the morning, this morning, I was having sort of a bullish bias, but also it could have been bearish. And the reason why is because we were having sort of conflicting things with each other. So a new term, by the way, I want to call something is, instead of me saying power of 3, I want to call it AMD. So power of 3 I've been saying is we have power 1 is accumulation, power 2 manipulation, power 3 distribution. Instead it could just be accumulation, manipulation, distribution, shortened as AMD. Alright, so first thing I want to show you guys in this morning, which I sadly did miss out on, it was right over here. So this was a beautiful pre-trade setup. This started at 2 a.m., which starting in the London session. And basically what happens here, we have sort of this consolidation, right? It's not really much action, not too much we pay attention to because this is overnight, right? We're not going to be trading this action unless this is your time zone. So right here, starting at, if you look at 6:20 a.m., we sold off and we took out these relative equal lows. In addition to taking out these relative equal lows, we created an SMT right here on the bottom. So then with that, you want to look at what happens after that. So this could be AMD, accumulation, here's your manipulation, followed by turtle soup. Then we want to see some sort of distribution to take out this high. So right here, we get a pump up. And usually on these sort of models, you're going to want to take the first fair value gap that you see. So as you can see on the 1 minute, first fair value gap, you could take your entry right here and head higher, right? And then you want to take a second entry. Kind of just depends where you want to take it. Personally, if it was me, I would wait until this high is taken out. So as you can see right here, the high is taken out, and maybe I'd take it on this fair value gap. So probably not on this entry because we didn't close above, but if we went up here and then tap back down, I would enter in right here. And then this is where you'd go higher. And your final target of this would probably be OTE. So right here's OTE. As you could see, we did respect that by like a couple of ticks, right? Perfectly respected this. And then we get a sell-off. We go and take this low. So this shows that this does show that the OTE sort of worked here. And this is sort of the mistake I made this morning. So we respected OTE, we had a sell-off, and I was thinking that we were going to go lower because I was wanting us to take out these lows, right? We also on a higher time frame here, we have not reached... Wait, actually we did. Yeah, this was just a complete bad trade by me. So number one, on a higher time frame, we're going to a 15-minute time frame, and I draw out this entire range that I did. Out of this entire range, when we sold off on Tuesday, we reached OTE, and then we respected back off, okay? Showing that we want higher. So showing that this could all just be a retrace and that we want higher. That is what that has showed us, right? That is what this massive OTE is. We tapped off here, rejected off, and we went higher. Second of all, we also had this setup. But if we look, where's it at? So right here we tapped this, and then I don't remember where the other thing was. But anyways, that right down there was showing us that we're bullish. And we also did just sweep sell side liquidity, got a pump up. And then additionally, when we went down here to this sell side, we rejected off, okay? And this right here could have just been a manipulation leg to fake out people, right? And that's sort of what happened to me here. So we got this massive pump up, and I was thinking, okay, this is a manipulation leg, right? Which did take out this high, but in reality, with the bigger time frame model, this was the manipulation leg. So I entered in short right here. I ended up getting stopped out. We also did create this bullish SMT, and as you can see, the minute we created the SMT, boom, massive pump. Here could be an entry, boom, massive pump, and your final targets, you try to take partials up at here, and then take maybe your final position off at this order block. So we went up to this high, and we actually did tap into the -3 perfectly, and then we sold back off a little bit, sort of consolidated. And I was actually watching the market all through this, and I was just like, I just was multitasking. But as you can see, from 12:42, so about 1 o'clock, all the way down to about 3 o'clock, we just consolidated the entire time, right? It's like 2 hours of consolidation. Then we came back down and we actually went to this little range of this move and a really, really weird curve back up. This curve is just, I don't know, it's just really weird. But took out this high, we ended up going above this -4, wicked it, and now we're heading lower, and then we just consolidated. So that's sort of the action with the past couple of days. Now I have to talk about where I think price is going to go next. So let's real quick look at the news for tomorrow. We have CPI, 2:30 a.m. It's not going to do anything for us. Unemployment claims. So this is at 8:30. Could try to take an advantage with this trade. We also have FOMC member Mester speaks at 2 p.m. These could do maybe a little bit, but not much. Tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to trade in the morning, except pre-market, so I'll take some sort of advantage out of that. But yeah. So tomorrow, I do think what's going to happen, honestly, it could go probably a little higher. I would want to see us sweep these highs because these are relatively equal highs. And I really want us to go lower. So this is where I was hoping for us to reject off of, but we didn't. So maybe we could sweep these highs and then head lower. Additionally, I am going to real quick draw out another range. I'm just going to do it like right here. And I want to see where OTE is at. It's going to be like that. It's going to be like this. Somewhere around here. So around this area is OTE. So that would also make sense. We could take these out and then OTE could bring us to head lower on a much higher time frame. So that is sort of my bias, but honestly, I really don't have a bias because a lot of things are getting disrespected. This is showing pretty bullish, honestly, but I do not want to see us be bullish. So I do have a bullish bias for this afternoon session, but for tomorrow, it's just going to depend. Are we going to show a sweep of these highs or a continuation? If we show a sweep of these highs, I do think we'll go lower. If we show a continuation, I think we're going to come up and take all of this resting bias of liquidity at these previous day highs. But after that, yeah, I don't know yet. So that's really all I have for this charting session. I hope you all have enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one.